Hello friends, and welcome to this Kardec Group High Five special event, where our guests Danny Rossi and Florencio Anton will be talking about their charity organizations and the work that they do in their local communities in Brazil. They will explain about the people they help, the kind of support they give, and why they dedicate their time to helping others. But first, just a few short words about who Kardec Group is and about this High Five campaign itself. So, Kardec Group is two Spiritist groups here in the UK, the Spiritist Society of Windsor and Maidenhead and the Spiritist Society of Bicester. And these two groups are focused on studying the Spiritist teachings, also known as Spiritism, which is a scientific philosophy compiled in the 1850s by the French educator Allan Kardec. Now, Spiritism teaches us a lot about all aspects of life, including the importance of helping and supporting each other. In other words, charity. And as such, Kardec Group started the High Five campaign, this fundraising campaign, last year during our event, Spiritism X. And of course, we'd like to thank everyone who's donated so far. So thank you so much. All this that you're helping with is so important to us. And these people will be able to tell everyone else that it's so simple and easy, because what we want is to help others, because we believe that it's important to help others when you can. And all we're asking for is a small donation of just £5, £10 every month, the cost of a sandwich and a coffee. And 100% of all donations is sent directly to the two organisations that we're supporting. Right now, we're supporting these two groups, Grupo scheila, founded by Florencio Anton, and Instituto Multiirão, founded by Danny Rossi, which is why we've invited them here today, so you can all get to know their organizations better and see why we're supporting them. Now, all details on how to donate to the High Five campaign, you can find them on our website, kardec.org.uk/high5. And if you want to know more about Spiritism and the Spiritist teachings, you can contact us via our website or via the Kardec Group social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even Twitter. Now, send us your questions and comments during the live. Send us a hello if you're watching. Tell us where you're watching from. And we've already got some friends watching from all over the world right now. And also, tell us about times when you have been helped by someone, or you have been helped by a charity, and you felt grateful for having that support. And it's very, very simple. All you need to do is send us all your comments on Twitter or Facebook at Kardec Group using the hashtag gratitude. And we'll try to read some of them out later. And of course, if you have any questions or comments in general, just put them in the chat or comments area of wherever you're watching. And don't forget, make sure that you give us a thumbs up. There we go. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our page, and if you want to give us a thumbs down, let us know why. We'd love to know why you don't like things. But enough of that. Let's now introduce our guests. So let's bring on Florencio Anton, who is a nurse, a university lecturer, and an author from Salvador Bahia, and one of the founders of Grupo scheila. And we also have Danny Rossi, who is also a university lecturer and an author from Curitiba, Paraná, and a founder of Instituto Multiirão. Welcome both of you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Now, first of all, how are you both, and how have you been coping during this pandemic?
Danny first.
Well, thank you, Adam, and all of the people from your group to helping us, and especially to knowing what kind of things we are doing here in Brazil in our institutions in the name of education, especially in education. Last year was a difficult year to everybody here in Brazil and everybody in all the world. But here in our country, we have so many poor families, and these families in these years uh, have to face with problems like they are starving. They don't have food to eat. They don't have the minimal conditions to survive. So they demand that we do something for them, not just education, but in assistance, in these campaigns, to give him food, to give them so affection. That's okay without sound.
Yeah.
It's a little resume that we are doing every day here in Brazil.
That's fine. Yes. And
Hi,
Florencio.
everyone. It's so hard to me to speak in English. I think I need a minimal week in London speaking with my friends to speak fluently. We are facing challenging days in this pandemic year. As you know, our institution is is maintained by my mediumship work because the pandemic um, um, we had to stop our mediumship painting work, and then we are not collecting enough money to maintain our social work with our families and with our childrens. Nowadays, we are giving support to 65 families and 62 children who are living today under the poverty line. That's the resume of our work today.
Yeah. And Danny, how many people are supported by multirão?
We have 40 families directly supported by multirão, but because of all these problems, we reach about 100 families with these donations in foods. Like my great friend Florencio told us, we had no our donations in money have a decrease, but our donations in food and in species have an increase. So with these donations, we we can help them, but the work goes on and goes on every day. So that's a great opportunity to show our work from Brazil, from NAS, from me and my friend Florencio.
Yeah. Yep. So let's talk about your work. So how and when did your organization start? Let's start with you, Danny.
We started multirão in 2014. A few years ago, this time, 2010, about 2010, we know the families of this neighborhood that we are acting today. And we gave classes to these families at that time in the spiritual societies in Curitiba. So the time will pass, and I have to the opportunity. I had the opportunity to know where that people live. This sound is from my microphone.
It's from my microphone. It's a plane passing above
Yes,
us.
Yes, I think it's good to for people who don't know Brazil very well. So where Florencio is in Salvador, there's an airport right next door. So there may be a few planes interrupting from time to time. But
Yes.
please carry on, Danny.
Unfortunately.
So we had the opportunity to know where that people that I gave class to, the children live. And when I know, I give them a ride to their houses, and I know the place. I know all the poverty, all the needs. Right? I decided immediately that I had to open a school for them, just to take care of that kids that grow up on the streets. Right? They go to the school, a public school on the limits of the city, but they don't learn many things. They children on 9 and 10 years old, for example, they have extremely difficulty to write and to read. So I decided to call my friends and start a school. I live upstairs, and we rent the part below to open these activities, and we started from there to now. So it's formally 6 years, and an NGO opened. We started before, but 6 years with an Institute Multiirão association of friends, a non-profit organization, of course.
Great, thank you. And Florencio, how did Grupo Scheila start, and when?
It's a very interesting question. And I feel so touched when I talk about the Spiritist Scheila, the Scheila Spiritist Group establishment. As you know, I can see the spirits since 8 years old. I can see and hear the spirits since 8 years old. And when I was 17, the painting spirits appeared me, invited me to focus and to pray in front of around 10 papers and crayons, because they wanted to make me to face a test. And then I closed my eyes and I felt strange feelings, and I fall in trance. And then when I came back, I could see that the paper were were drawn and painted by the crayons uh, in very good quality, despite I don't know how to paint, and I don't know how to combine the colors and the tone of the colors of the crayons. Um, around 8 years from this mediumship start, the Sheila, who is a spirit, a nurse spirit, appeared me and and gave me, I don't know if I can use this word in English, proposition, propose,
Yes,
propose or proposition.
either.
She gave she invited me. She invited me to build an institution um, that aims to educate the poor people. And then Sheila invited me in July 1999. And then in August, at the end of August, precisely in August 29, 1999, we established the Sheila Spiritist Group. And I can I can speak in Portuguese all the steps we follow in our institution under the Spiritist philosophy. I could share with with the people who are hearing us and seeing us, and then I will speak in Portuguese and you translate, Adam,
Okay, I'll do my
in
best.
English, okay? The first step, the first base of our institution that we collected from the Spiritist philosophy is: a cura dos males sociais poderá ser prolongada.
The
Com-
healing of social ills could be prolonged.
Contudo, o instrumento de ataque a estes males será a educação.
You'll have to repeat that. I'm not as good as our good friend Annie Sinclair. I'll have to be very honest.
Ok. A cura dos males sociais poderá ser prolongada. Contudo, o instrumento de ataque a estes males será a educação.
So, education is a way to combat these social illnesses.
The second base is: em uma sociedade organizada segundo a lei do Cristo, ninguém deve morrer de fome.
Okay, so following the advice of Jesus, no one, any good society, shouldn't allow anyone to die from hunger.
The third base is: a humanidade progride através de indivíduos que se melhoram pouco a pouco e se esclarecem.
Okay, I think the gist of it is that people need to get to know themselves little by little so that they can overcome the issues.
Quando estes se tornam numerosos, tomam a dianteira e trazem os outros a este progresso.
So when people are able to overcome their bad habits and things and make progress for themselves, they're able to bring in other people to also do that same internal effort.
And the last is: nenhum homem dispõe de faculdades completas.
So
E é pela... Sorry.
So no one has all the complete level of faculties.
E é pela união social que eles se completam uns aos outros.
And it's through social interaction that we're able to complete each other.
Those are the most important philosophical basement of our institution.
Great, thank you. So, that's wonderful to know how things started and that part. So, can you talk more about the actual communities where you are? So, what is it like for the people who live there? How many people are there in these communities?
Adam?
Either of you.
Of course. Keep going.
Okay. We are in the very poor quarter in Salvador, Bahia, which is the capital of the state of Bahia, in the northeast of Brazil. Mussurunga was established in 1978 was a kind of a collection of poor houses for poor people. Nowadays is a huge quarter. I don't know how can I translate to English the medium class I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, middle class, sort of working class, really.
Working class, yes. It's a working class quarter, and around the quarter we have a kind of a bed houses collection named favela. Um, and the people we are assisting today is from those two favelas we have around the around the Mussurunga. The favela is called Colinas de Mussurunga e Baixinha. And today, and nowadays, we have around 10,000 people living in Mussurunga. It's a
10,000
huge
people.
quarter. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And Danny, how is the community where you are?
So we have different characteristics of the neighborhood that on Florencio are because our neighborhood is so smaller, and our NGO, the multirão, we are 50 meters from the straight line, the train line. So beyond this train line is a much poor neighborhood, and the second more violent region of our city. I was studying this information yesterday to present to some friends about the neighborhoods in Curitiba, the most violent neighborhood, and Jardim Icaraí, that is the name of this part of the neighborhood, is beyond the train line. It's the second most violent. Our kids, the majority, came from this violent part. So we have many of them have their parents they're related to drug dealers, for example, or something very very near this sad situation.
Yeah,
So it's a neighborhood that circulates a part of Curitiba, is the city that is a capital from Paraná in Brazil. It's a great city to live. But the tourists, when came to Curitiba, know the good parts, the beautiful parts of the city. And we have these parts and where we are, and 100 meters far from us, we had an extremely violence and houses built on the sand without any conditions that rain inside the houses. We know uh, all the homes that our kids live. That's part of our method to
yeah,
know exactly how their lives. So it's very sad this situation.
yeah. And I think it's very important that people who have never been to Brazil understand the reality of how people live, because sometimes we get to see images from shanty towns and slums and favelas from all around the world, but I think many people perhaps have the wrong idea of exactly how it is there, because we've had various films and TV shows where they show perhaps a different style of life where people may live there, but still they're earning lots of money and they're working in expensive hotels and they're just there because it seems very chic or uh, very cool to live in such a place. But is that the reality? Do these people have high earning jobs? Do they have uh, university education?
No, no. I talk about, from Curitiba and seeing these stories, histories of the families. 5 years ago, I made a research, a formal research just to have an overview of these families. Almost 100% of the children until 14 years old never leave the neighborhood. They don't know the downtown of Curitiba, the center of the city. Just one of the families know the beaches that we have in Paraná. So they never leave the city of Curitiba. No one on that village and the village next to us was doing university. No one. There's no one family that is a young that was studying. The schools that we have in these communities, we can analyze the results of this the lecture, and because here in Brazil we have a test, a national test, so we can graduate that make a scale in the impact and results of each school, and that school that our kids are studying is the worst of all of them. So that's the reason, the explanation that I found, because why the kids of 9 and 10 years don't know to write her own name? Why the kids with 16 and 17 years old never dream or never plan to do a college or a high school or a university? Because when we ask that, don't you think to you have the chance to do a university? If the answers were many of them. Oh, I never think about that because it's not for me. It's not for us. The university is not for us. Right? They celebrate when one of them can have a job on a supermarket as a delivery or something like that. So they dream a very small dreams because all the society put ideas on them that they don't have to think bigger or dream with another conditions life. So they are depending on the state, on the NGOs, and our work as an NGO is education, because they have to think from ourselves to the world. Not just, I have to leave this neighborhood. No, I have to change this neighborhood. I can do a university to change my neighborhood, because it's very common when one family going better in their lives, they change the neighborhood from another one and never come back. So the situation of that neighborhood never changed. So you have to change the conditions by education. It's the only way that we see, because we learned this from Allan Kardec, we learned this from Pestalozzi. In Multirão Institute, we use the pedagogy of affection that we learned from Pestalozzi. And was a professor from Allan Kardec when Allan Kardec is a little kid in Verdun, for example, in Europe. So this map that we did about the families show this situation. They don't dream to going better. They don't dream that they can do a university. They never think about it.
Yeah. So you're talking here about the need of education, and that many people in these poor areas have been ignored and perhaps neglected by the main society and the governments. So, Florencio, what are the kinds of activities that your group has for the people in your community?
After to hear my friend Daniel speak about the social problems we are facing in our country, I must say that I need to speak in Portuguese because to me it's really hard to touch and so deep um, arguments in English. So I'm gonna ask your help to translate me
I'll do my
because
best.
I think I have um, I have an important speech to share, and I have an important experiences speech to share with your public. So I prefer to speak in Portuguese, and you translate to me to make me clear to your public. As nossas experiências são muito semelhantes às experiências do Daniel.
So Florenzo's experiences are very similar to those of Danielle.
A realidade brasileira é uma realidade muito diversa
So the reality in Brazil is very diverse
no sentido econômico, social e cultural.
in the economic, social, and cultural sense.
Nós entendemos, a partir da pedagogia,
So we understand through pedagogy
que os problemas que são originados do desequilíbrio dessas três grandes áreas
so that the issues that are due to the inequality within these three areas
só conseguirão ser resolvidos através da educação.
can only really be resolved through education.
Então, a nossa proposta, enquanto instituição social, enquanto organização não governamental,
So our proposal with regards to being this kind of institution, an NGO,
é devolver a essas famílias e a essas crianças
is to bring to these families, to these children,
a crença de que elas podem mudar de estado social através da educação.
you have to repeat that.
A nossa proposta, enquanto organização não governamental, é devolver, to give back to those families and children the belief that they can move from the place the place they are now
Yeah.
through the education. O nosso país, infelizmente, tem baixos índices de desenvolvimento humano e de o IDH que nós chamamos e o outro tem um outro índice Dan na área da educação que eu me falha o nome, não sei se você se lembra.
Okay, so Florence is saying that in Brazil there's a very low level of these different areas, including.
Então, diante desses problemas, as nossas instituições, eu digo nossas, porque conheço a do Daniel.
Okay, so both institutes know these kinds of issues.
Tem trabalhado para que essas crianças e famílias possam realmente
And they're working so that all the children and family can really do what they need to do.
Acreditarem que podem viver dias melhores.
For them to be able to believe that they can live better days, better lives.
E a educação é um desses instrumentos.
And education is one of the ways, one of the instruments needed for this.
Nós temos um programa que apoia a entrada de jovens na universidade.
And so they have a project that helps children get into university.
Aqui no Brasil existe uma grande contradição.
There's great contradictions in Brazil.
As universidades públicas que não são pagas
So the public universities, which are not paid for, they're free,
são frequentadas pelos que podem pagar.
are normally attended by those who can pay.
E as universidades privadas, que são pagas,
And so the private universities, which are paid for,
estão cheias de pessoas pobres.
are filled with people from poor backgrounds.
Então, a nossa instituição tem um programa que oferece
And so Scheila has this program that offers
o pagamento de cursos universitários para esses jovens.
the payment of university courses for these children.
Nós já temos 7 formados.
And there are already 7 children who have graduated.
E temos 2, que um está fazendo psicologia e a outra entrou em nutrição.
And there's 2 more, one who's studying psychology and the other one nutrition.
And then there is a several social projects in our institution. We have a project named Meu Lar. This project helps the poor families to build their houses. We have another project, a social project named Building the Good Men, that aims to develop the virtues in our children. We have another one that supports the pregnant mothers. We give the babies clothes and the stuffs that help the baby born. And oh my God, we give them food for a month. The past month we gave to them 68. We call here cesta básica. It's a collection of food that help them to pass around 1 month with food in their houses, and 2 others social project more.
Yeah. Well, we actually have a short video clip showing some of these activities. So let's take a look at that now.
Very beautiful. Very
Yeah,
beautiful.
and as we can
Wonderful.
see, there's so many projects that you do, so many activities, and I'm sure Danny, with yourselves, you have similar activities.
Yes, yes. Well, Florencio for me it's an example, because the Scheila, the Scheila Institute has more experience and more time. So when I was in Salvador, knowing Florencio and this work of Sheila, né? We come back to Curitiba with many another ideas just to improve né? The activities that we have in our institution. Né? We have in our institution it's like a school. Né? Morning and we have classes in the morning daily, né? And in the afternoon and at night. At night for the parents. Né? The people that they learn to write and to read, and all of these people that prepare at night was we call here in Brazil catadores, is collectors for recycled materials, and in the morning and afternoon is for children, 5 years to 17 years. So when I know Florencio, I come back with my emotions and my ideas and my dreams. That's just to put. So now we have this little program there based on Florencio's idea to support the children, the young that want to graduate. We'll have two of them at this uh, particularly these profit universities that we have to pay the mentalities that they could learn and could reach their dreams. So Florence is an inspiration from us and help us a lot as multirão. And when I was almost giving up, oh my God, we don't have money, we don't have volunteers enough to do all the things. And Florence said, calm down. Have faith, and have the money to help us, all the things. All this.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, and all these activities, they must be so important for the people who are attending. So, Danny, what kind of comments have you had from the people who go to Multirão, and what kind of do you have any specific examples of how people have changed their lives?
Yes, in all these years, each month we face an history that almost changed our life. For example, we have robotic classes in our institution. They don't have robotic classes in their school, the regular school and public school. And in one of these classes, the professor, the volunteer professor that we have, called me and says, Daniel, we'll have one little kid called Lucas, and I think he was a genius. He's a genius on maths, on science. The capacity to do the counts and the things and the programs to program the robot to do little things. So it's a very short with 9 years old. So little kid, we could separate and say he deserves like the others too, but he deserves like special attention because of the abilities. So because these abilities, the other kids don't like him very much because he's very smart, he's very quickly. So this situation show us that you have to pay attention in each one of them. Each one has his talent. We have an experience in our institute a long time ago. We call social currency, social coin. They are doing the activities, etc., and they receive a social coin from paper that we do in our institution. And at the end of the month, each one of them have their coins, their their money, their social money, and each one can buy, for example, toys, kits, and some donations. They all receive the food and the donation that was designated for them, but they can have this experience to collect to gain his social money and buy things, some toys that we gave we have in our institution. One of them are looking so many times.
Oh, I think Danny's connection has just stopped for the moment. Yep. Okay, well, while we wait for Danny to, to return to us, we have a short video as well to show about all the different activities at multirão as well. So let me just bring that up. Nope, I'm very sorry. We're having slight technical difficulties just now. I do apologise about this, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, I'm sure Danny will be back with us in a moment. Right, I think our video is working now.
A ONG, para mim, tudo é importante. O mais importante da ONG, porque e que a escola é uma coisa boa que a gente está no futuro para aprender. A ONG, se não fosse a ONG, nós estávamos perdidos, porque a ONG dá muita coisa para as crianças, exemplo para crianças e para os adultos também, para nós todos.
Eu agradeço ao tio Dani e a tia Michelle por ter me dado essas liçãozinhas. Tinha muita dificuldade para fazer as lições de matemática. Então daí esses negócios me ajudaram, essas liçãozinhas, essas cestas. Vocês foram muito carinhosos com a gente. Dando presentes, fazendo coisa, doando roupa. É muito legal fazer parte da ONG. Eu queria agradecer por ter pegado essas liçãozinhas, fazer capoeira, balé, essas coisas. Muito legal.
Eu acho que é um lugar onde eu consigo me sentir eu mesma, é um lugar onde eu gosto de estar, é um ambiente muito agradável. Aqui vem muitos meus amigos, tem as aulas, como por exemplo de música, dança, capoeira. E aqui é um lugar onde é muito legal, tem um parquinho aqui onde as crianças brincam e quando a gente termina as atividades, geralmente a gente brinca de caçador no pátio, que é muito legal, divertido.
Eu vim no projeto porque eu gosto das aulas de música, eu gostava da aula de dança, eu vim aqui pra mim, que antes eu ficava na rua não fazendo nada e agora eu venho no projeto.
Tenho já uns 5 anos que participo do projeto Multirão. Entrei lá como aluna, fazia as atividades, os cursos que proporcionavam lá. Com o tempo eu fui fazer um estágio, faço um estágio de administração, que me ajudou bastante porque eu não entendia muito. Também me ajudaram em questão do colégio, porque eles me indicaram um colégio muito bom, que eu consegui fazer a prova, passei e ganhei uma bolsa 100% gratuita. Em questão também do quarto, porque eu não tinha um quarto, eu tinha que dividir. Aí eles fizeram um quarto para mim. E também tenho a agradecer pela ajuda que eles dão às famílias, né? Com as cestas, e o que a família precisar indicar, eles ajudam. E isso eu agradeço também. Então, eu só tenho a agradecer a todos que participam do projeto, ao Dani, a Márcia, a Michelle, e é isso.
Eu conheci o projeto Multirão através do meu filho, Everton Eduardo, ele começou a frequentar. Foi assim que eu conheci o projeto, né? Então, certo dia eu fui até o projeto, conheci o professor Daniel, né? Conversei com ele. Eu estava precisando de materiais escolares, né? E de lá, desde então, eu comecei a frequentar mais vezes o projeto, comecei também a fazer trabalhos voluntários, no qual estamos aí até hoje. E a ONG na minha vida, ela fez mudanças mil, né? Tanto são os meus filhos que foram muito agraciados pelos cursos. Tem a minha filha que fez curso de manicure. Pelas ajudas também que eu recebi com as cestas básicas. Não posso dizer que a minha casa esteja sendo reformada, porque a minha casa ela está sendo erguida do chão, né? Então a ONG para mim é a minha vida, mas não só pelo fato de eu estar ganhando a minha casa, né? Não só pelo fato da ajuda que meus filhos tiveram, mas pelo que eu aprendi. E o que eu mais aprendi aqui na ONG foi o amor, foi o afeto, que é o que o Dani sempre procura passar. E eu acho que isso é uma das maiores lições que eu aprendi aqui na ONG e que eu pretendo a levar para o resto da minha vida. É o amor ao próximo. O multirão não é apenas uma ONG, o multirão é uma família. E é isso aí. O que a ONG é para mim hoje, é isso. É minha vida. É o meu coração.
How can we not feel
Sorry.
touched and feel, emotional by hearing
Yes.
these kinds of words? So for those people who don't know myself, our work here at Cardet Group, Cardet Group started because we had the experience of living and working in Brazil, working in a spirited center in Seja Barra. And so we've had the experience of seeing these kinds of people firsthand. So the emotion that Danny is showing and Florence is showing right now, of course, like this lady here, how she's saying, these kinds of projects are their lives. And we've just had a couple of comments of people saying it's great how parents then decide to become volunteers as well within the projects. So, Florence, Danny, what do you think has been the biggest lesson that you have learnt over the years?
Wow. Dan first.
So I had this phrase, affection. When I have affection, I affect the other. Many years ago, but it's a phrase that was a theoretical phrase, like poetry that I like very much. So affection me, myself, and I affect the other. But living there, I feel affection. I can feel affection. When you feel the affection from the others, you can throw the affection from ourselves to the others. So this is the most important lesson that we have in the life that we learn from Jesus. Right? Love each other like He loved us. So we are learning day by day, step by step, how to love people that frequently are angry with you because we don't have conditions to build houses to anyone. We don't have conditions to help all the neighborhood. Unfortunately, we don't have conditions to give the best education because we can't with volunteers. So we have the education that we think, the education that we can do. So in time or another time, you have people that are angry with me because they don't have food enough, and we cannot reach them with our programs, assistance programs. But these criticize these situations, much bring us the light and the desire to do the best, to keep going day by day, to improve our classes, to improve our education, to keep the faith in the work that's going on day by day. So to feel the affection is the very the most unbelievable thing that I never thought years before that I will learn. The affection, not just my theories or my papers. The affection that's flowing from me and flowing from these kids and these families, like these deployments that we can hear such a few minutes ago.
And Florencio, your thoughts?
Adam, I have to speak in Portuguese
Okay, we'll
again because I'm so touched. And when I am touched, my thoughts, my thoughts come. Eu tenho muitas lições aprendidas ao longo desses 21 anos de trabalho no Grupo Espírita Scheila.
There are many lessons that I've learned over these 21 years of the Scheila Spiritist Group.
A primeira delas é a de que não importa o que você faça, sempre haverão pessoas prontas para criticar.
The first is that it doesn't matter what you do, there will always be people around to criticize.
Continue fazendo o seu trabalho com fé.
Continue to do your work with faith.
A segunda delas é a de que, por mais que nós ajudemos as pessoas,
The second is that no matter how much we help others,
algumas não desenvolverão o mínimo de sentimento de gratidão por você.
some will never develop even the smallest bit of sentiment for you.
Mas ainda assim, vale a pena trabalhar.
But it's still worth working.
A terceira, eu acho que talvez seja a mais importante de todas elas.
The third is probably the most important of them.
É a de que as nossas missões pessoais sobre a Terra
Is that our lessons here on Earth
só se completam
only complete
só se completam quando nós despertamos para a ideia de que estamos aqui para servirmos uns aos outros.
they only become complete once we awaken ourselves to understand that we're here to help others.
Esse talvez seja o ponto em comum que a filosofia cristã espírita pode compartilhar com todos os pensamentos religiosos do mundo.
And this is probably the common point which the Spiritist philosophy, called Christian Spiritist philosophy, can join with all other religions in the world.
Então eu quero dizer que através desse trabalho eu tenho aprendido a amar as pessoas.
And so I'd like to say that through this work, I've learned how to love others.
Em todos os sentidos.
In all senses. And I will agree, from my own personal experience, this kind of work has helped me to understand other people better, how important it is to love and care for other people. And I think it's strange that we've had this lesson come to us for over 5,000 years now, yet we're still so slow to actually apply it to our day-to-day lives. So let's I think we can come to an end soon, but I still have a few more quick questions. So, what gives you the most joy and happiness with the work that you do?
Wow. Dan?
It's almost like the this anterior question, because we have a kid, a children, a child saying that this class or that class was very important on their lives. I think with myself on a pillow at night, of course, it was good. Our feelings and the volunteers. We have to thank you all, because one child, one smile can bring so many changes in our lives. So we have to keep it on, because one smile or one child, one class, one volunteers that we have, this kind of thing, this situation can change our lives, like change mine, and certainly for instance too.
Well, the most, the higher joy that I have in our social work come to my heart when I convince a people or a person to join to me to change the world, to make them to believe that we can change the world step by step. That's the most important thing, and the higher joy I have in the social work is to convince someone that we can change the world in a better world by step, um, making the little things happening. No, yes,
Yes.
happening
Happen.
in our pathway.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. When we do something and then someone starts to follow in the same footsteps as ourselves.
Yes.
And that actually brings us to the next question. Who has inspired you the most?
Wow. The
In my case, I have my mother, Elsa Rossi, and my father, Luis Rossi, and I learned from them to serve. Like a phrase that we wrote about this idea, that's the reason to live is to serve. I don't know if the expression to serve is that I want to say, to servir. It's the same, Adam. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
The reason to live is to serve. And certainly, my father was a spiritist when I was young, and he teach my mother from Allan Kardec's books and this literacy. So certainly, my father learns from Allan Kardec, because Allan Kardec passed all the life doing things about pedagogy, teaching for free the kids. We don't know many things about the biography of Allan Kardec. Just with Allan Kardec, when he was almost 6 years old, but in this time, when he was young and to 6 years, he was a professor giving classes, opening schools, free schools, like Pestalozzi. And Pestalozzi and Allan Kardec certainly was inspired by Jesus. Let's say you have to serve, have to educate, you have to love, you have to instruct people. So I think this is the currency from from Jesus to my father and to my mother, Elsa Rossi, that I love so much, and love Florencio so much. So I demand her to, I thank her for all the things that I learned, and the decision to change my life, to give up from a PhD program in German 15 years ago, to have this life, copying the life of Florencio, inspired by Florencio and Divaldo Franco, for example. But the inspiration came from my father and from my mother, certainly.
Florencio?
Adam, I have a lot of people asking me to speak in Portuguese, mostly coming from my institution. And then I am asking you a permission to speak in Portuguese. Just this time, short phrases
Okay.
to help you to translate me. And eu tenho vários indivíduos que me inspiram.
There are many people who have inspired me.
Daniel trouxe os seus pais como a primeira fonte de inspiração.
Daniel mentioned his parents as the main point of inspiration.
E eu não pude deixar também de trazer a este espaço de conversa a presença de minha mãe.
And I can't leave without using this space to talk about my mother.
Minha mãe tinha um sentido de responsabilidade social muito dilatado.
My mother had a
great
sense of social responsibility.
E de modo que eu posso dizer que ela ainda vive no meu afeto e tem me inspirado nesse trabalho que eu desenvolvo, que nós desenvolvemos aqui em Salvador.
And that she still inspires me with all the work that we do here in Salvador.
Mas seguramente, como espírita,
but certainly as a spiritist,
eu não posso deixar de mencionar que a grande inspiração provém do pensamento de Jesus de Nazaré.
I can't leave without saying that a lot of the inspiration has also come from Jesus of Nazareth.
Mas não o Jesus institucionalizado.
But not the institutionalized Jesus.
O Jesus que trouxe-nos uma proposta de vida melhor.
The Jesus who brought us the proposal of a better life.
Na área da educação, existem vários outros indivíduos que me inspiram, como, por exemplo, Pestalozzi, que já foi citado.
Within education, there are other people who have brought me inspiration, such as Pestalozzi, who's already been mentioned.
E na área pessoal, eu poderia dizer que Daniel também é uma inspiração para nós.
In my personal life, I can also say that Daniel has been an inspiration.
Eu sempre observo o pensamento dele e os trabalhos que a Multirão desenvolve para poder implantar aqui em Salvador.
I've observed his thoughts and his way of working at Multirão to see how we can implement those here in Salvador.
Porque eu verdadeiramente admiro o trabalho do Daniel.
Because I truthfully admire Daniel's work.
Claro que nós temos outros indivíduos que nos inspiram.
Of course, there are many others who inspire us.
E eu poderia passar a tarde aqui falando de todos eles.
I could spend the whole afternoon talking about them.
Mas eu vou trazer apenas esses três.
But I'll mention just these three.
Porque esses três me conectam com outro que talvez seja a alma do nosso trabalho.
And these three help me to connect to the other thing, which is the spirit of the work.
Que é Francisco de Assis.
Which is Francis of Assisi.
O poeta da alegria.
That's a word I don't know.
The joy poet.
The poet of joy.
Poet. Francisco de Assis é de fato, poderia dizer, usando uma linguagem psicológica.
So Francis of Assisi, using a psychological language.
Ideal de ego.
An ideal of ego.
E eu espero poder estar trazendo pouquinho do seu espírito para a nossa conversa e para todos aqueles que estão nos assistindo.
And I hope to be able to bring a little bit of his spirit to this conversation and to all those who are watching. Yeah. And just for the record, I'd like to say that both of you inspire us as well.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, almost the last question. How important has Spiritism itself been for you and for your projects?
Well, this is one of the things that I learned from the Sheila's Institute and Florence, because at the beginning, I thought if I talk about spiritism, I will make some families go away because they have their own religion. So I have many afraid. So the word affection and the feeling affection for me is kind of a substitute of the religion class or the moral class, the behavior classes that we have. But inspired in the work of scheila, that has a spiritual center together with the social work. I began to bring some classes, talking about, make some conference in our institute, for example, in some people that have specific works. We invite the families, explain them what we are about to do. So one by one came and start to learn things. So we have some friends of on neighborhood, for example, at neighborhood, for example, that was they become to read something about Allan Kardec. Because it's a very small work yet. You have to think to make this grow, because what we learn from experiences is our life. We do I do what I do because I learned from Allan Kardec's book, from the spirits, from Chico Xavier, from Francisco de Assis. So we have to improve these specific classes on our institution. That's one of the goals of the meeting in 2021.
Great.
Yeah.
And Florencio, what's Spiritism for you, and what are your plans for 2021?
Sorry, I didn't catch you.
So, how important is Spiritism for you, and what are your plans for 2021?
Adam, I have to say that the Spiritism is my life. And the Spiritism gives me a sense of community. It means that we will not never grow up alone. And that's the sense of community Spiritism gives me. As a great collection of philosophical, religious, and scientific arguments, Spiritism gives me a chance, using its principles, to be a good man. That's the point.
Perfect.
And what do you hope to achieve this year in 2021?
Dan? would like to start?
Yes. Well, this year we have a challenge because our building where are the activities from by Institute Multiirão Institute was not mine. We pay some rent, and sometimes our case I wish I'd like to use the building, so you have to build another house from us near. So we have some uh, a little bit afraid about this situation, but not it's not afraid that can stop our work. If you have to move, you're gonna move. You're gonna make some campaigns. You have to rent another space or build another space. That's sort of a dream because when this space is when in this time when I have the chance that the space of Multirão can be by ourselves, I'm never gonna be afraid to have to move on. Sometimes it depends of demand. So this is one of the goals to decide on our space, on fixed space that can build by our friends and campaigns, just to not have afraid anymore. So we have to move on. This is one of the goals of this year's, and of course to continue to help the families because I think the situation, the pandemic situation, we're gonna live a lot more 1 or 2 years ahead. So we have all this time to keep working, but keep working the assistance. Like I said before, we'll have an increase for donations for food, but a decrease donations for money. But we have to pay the rent, pay the people that get classes, pay the water, pay the light, the internet. So you have to management this all these things. Beside the affection terms that we live.
Yeah.
The same to us, Adam. We are facing the same challenges in this year, and I was thinking that one day Martin Luther King said to us, "I have a dream," and then I have to repeat what Martin Luther King said. I have a dream, and my dream is to reopen our institution to our children's, to our families, to the people who comes to our institution to learn and practice and the spiritism doctrines. And then my dreams for this year is to reopen our institution. Besides, we have 3 employees. We have the water bills, we have the light energy bills, and we have to pay the salary, and we have to pay for the food, for the baby clothes, for the medical and the odontological services, because we give them medical and odontological services, and all of these services we give to those poor people must have money. And then I have to beg you to help us, to help them, to help us to keep our work going in the basic functions, in the minimal basic functions. And I hope this life can touch the people hearts to help us in this challenges days, in this hard days.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is exactly why we wanted this event. To have this opportunity to hear from both of you what the realities are, all the issues, all the conquests, everything that brings you happiness, but obviously things like the pandemic now, which bring you extra complications. So, just like to say once again, thank you. Thank you both, Florencio Anton and Daniel Rossi, for being with us, sharing your knowledge, sharing your experiences with us. I'll come back and talk to you both in just a few minutes. So, do either of you have any last words you'd like to share with the people watching with us?
Just tell about appreciation for this moment, for this opportunity, right? And just to forgive my English, our fails in communication, but saying to everybody that to just not keep the faith in our society, because from here to the future, we have so many things to do and so many people to love, and have to appreciate. And thank you, Adam. Thank you very much for this moment, and thank you, Florencio, for changing my life by the inspiration that he had he gave me in all this time, all the years. And my mother that lives in London for 13 years, and is my inspiration too in all this work. So thank you, and thank you very much.
I just have to say thank you. I have no more words to say. Thank you for your warm heart, and thank you for your generosity. Thank you for being beside us in those hard days. A big hug to you and to the people who is with us in this afternoon.
Great. Thank you both. So again,
Thank
thank
you.
you both for being with us. I'll come back and talk to you in just a few moments, but let me just say a few more words to everyone who's watching. So we did have some other announcements that we wanted to make, but we're going to leave them for now. Please follow Kardec Group on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and you'll find out about these other things that we wanted to talk about, which we'll announce during the week. But look, we hope that this live now has helped to demonstrate exactly why Kardec Group is committed to helping these two organizations and why we created the High Five campaign. And, like we've said, charity is something that it doesn't really depend on where you are in the world, the religion or faith that you follow, the color of your skin, or even the reason for wanting to help. We as humans have received clear messages, like I said, for thousands of years, showing us the importance of helping, loving, respecting others in the same way that we too would want to be helped, loved, and respected. And this message has been carried out through all cultures and all societies for, at least written, for over 5,000 years. So it doesn't matter if you're Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Buddhist, agnostic. Doesn't matter if you're spiritist, spiritualist, realist, humanist, atheist. Doesn't matter if you're a scientist, a philosopher, a musician, window cleaner, rubbish collector. It doesn't matter if you have a mansion, a house, a flat, or even just a room. If you are willing to help and are able to help, all we ask is that you consider a small donation on a regular basis, maybe just £5 a month, less than the cost of a coffee and a sandwich. And if you want to give more or less than that, not a problem. This is something ongoing. Like Danny and Florence were saying, it's ongoing. The issues that they've been facing, they're probably faced for the rest of this year or beyond. And there's so many things that they have to pay for. The financial support, cover costs of bills, food, various supplies for their projects, for these many people that they help. And now, if you prefer to help them directly, please do. Go to their Facebook pages, follow them. We shared the links before, we can share them again. Please go and follow them directly. Donate to them directly if you can, especially if you're in Brazil. But if you prefer to help other charities, that's not a problem. You know, everyone is free to help who they want to. But if this has inspired you to help these two gentlemen and the wonderful, wonderful projects that they run, these great organizations, if you can help us and the High Five campaign, no matter how much or how little, how often, please, you can go to Donate Now. You can see just on the side, the other side, so kardec.org.uk High Five. Okay, go there now. It's very easy. It's just a couple of clicks. You can donate via PayPal. You can donate via direct bank transfer to us. There's the links to Multirão and Grupo scheila. It's easy. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who has donated so far. Thank you for those people who already donate through us. And thank you for being with us today, for the support that you've given us for this live event. And we really hope to be able to see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.